the SSPX is not outside the church because they are not schismatic.
Would a Catholic say that the Orthodox are not outside the church because they are not schismatic? Think about that. They are no longer declared schismatics. Pope Paul VI lifted the excommunication for schism. So are the Orthodox inside the church because they're not declared schismatics? The same thing with the Old Catholics. The same thing with the Sedevacantists. The same thing with the Protestants. They're not declared schismatics either. So are they inside the church? You see, it's false to conclude that the Society of St. Pius X and the clergy are inside the church because they're not declared schismatics. We've just proven it with the Orthodox. So there's a failure here to make a distinction between a declared schismatic and an undeclared schismatic. The Orthodox are undeclared schismatics. They're still under the censure, right? Because they refuse submission to the Roman pontiff. It just hasn't been declared. It was declared, but it was lifted by Paul VI. And because they're still schismatic, they're excommunicated. That's automatically under law. So it just hasn't been declared. So again, not being subject to a declared censure does not mean you're part of the Roman Catholic Church. So there's an error there in reasoning. And I think, Dom, it's also important to make a distinction between the Society of St. Pius X as an organization and then the clergy, okay? The society is not a juridic person under canon law. We've talked about this, whether it was formed as a pious union or a society of common life is not really relevant. It was formed, as we know, ad experimentum. It was suppressed in 75. If it wasn't suppressed, it would have been extinguished in 76. So it's not a juridic person. So they're not part of the Roman Catholic Church, but they're still an organization that is outside the Roman Catholic Church because it has its own statutes, it has its own leadership, it has its own governance, which is separate from the Roman Catholic Church. And this is why Cardinal Burke, back in May of 2021, said that the Society of St. Pius X, quote, is not part of the one Roman Catholic Church throughout the world, end quote. And that is because the Society of St. Pius X as an organization is not subject to the governance of the Roman Catholic Church, you see. And this proves that they are outside the church because it's a dogma of the faith that the Roman Catholic Church is one in her government, okay? So the Society of St. Pius X as an organization has chosen to remain outside the Roman Catholic Church because it effectively claims the Roman Catholic Church has defected. Now, we saw what Archbishop Lefebvre said about it, that the Roman Catholic Church is no longer Catholic. It's now a conciliar church. It taught heresy at Vatican II. It gave us evil rites of dubious validity, etc. So the SSPX as an organization is clearly schismatic because its leadership has refused submission to the Roman pontiff. So we would ask anyone how an organization that's not part of the Catholic Church is actually part of the Catholic Church. That would be my question. Now, let's talk about the clergy. The clergy are also individually not part of the Catholic Church because they had formally adhered to the movement of Archbishop Lefebvre. And John Paul II declared that anyone who formally adheres to that movement is excommunicated for schism. Well, who's going to say that the society clergy are not formally adhering to the movement? The Ecclesia Dei Commission also repeatedly raised this issue of formal adherence in their many replies on the Mass and the prohibitions of attending society masses. So this formal adherence exists among the clergy, and it also can apply to the laity. So the point of all this is, it is erroneous to say that the society is not outside the church because they're not schismatic. Okay, those are two errors. The first error is that both the society and the clergy are outside the church. And the second error is that they are schismatic because of formal adherence. But like the Orthodox, like the Old Catholics, like the Sedevacantists, they're not declared schismatics, you see. Right. So for all those reasons, they're not part of the church.